So we come out the gate selling 1 million albums. After we build up our little street legacy, then we get that national platform. We all go platinum, back to back. And definitely in my case, my platinums were only coming from 3 regions: the Midwest, down south, and the West Coast. So what would happen is you get a guy from New York that's platinum, but he got the benefit of all 4 regions. So you're wondering, his numbers are 1 point whatever million, mine are 1 point whatever million. But then when I get him somewhere like Detroit or somewhere like Arkansas, and they looking like, it was just a sort of like us, like he said, planting our flag. We showing up.
Yeah.
Wasn't really getting a lot of respect in the door, but the numbers was there.
But the numbers don't lie, bro.
I'm in Arkansas with, all the top rappers. We doing a show. We on the same bill.
Okay.
Arkansas don't give a fuck if you from the West or the East.
They want hip hop.
But I'm coming out there and I got the level of the way the fans are loving me in that region.
Yes.
Is bigger than certain other artists.
Oh, yeah.
Because
absolutely.
we selling the same numbers, but mine are only from those 3 regions. So in a couple of spaces, I get you in a couple of places.
I catch you slipping in Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. So the play, when we're not on the West or the East, we in the middle of the country, the playing field evens out.
Right. And this is the part of that of hip hop that I really would love my listeners and people that will watch this on YouTube to see. It's like the growth of it. And you know what I mean? Like you guys, and even myself included from my part of the contribution, but you guys pioneered through an era where you really were chipping at a mountain, chopping down, making sure that, we put out a solid hit, put out a record that represent my region, because you knew where your fan base was kind of back then. And you kind of like say, I got to water this and then spread out from there, right?
And the bar was high.
Without a doubt, and New York was setting the bar.
Yeah.
They showed us how to be pros in a lot of different ways. And we had to create things that worked in our region.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But we still had to measure against, some of the best to ever do it. We had to measure against Rakim and, EPMD and, just some of the best who ever did it. We had to measure up, even though we were doing our own style. So they set the bar, and it took us a minute to really find our tone and our bar.
Yeah.
And then we had to,
you from Jersey?
Start creating
I'm
from
from
there.
Jersey, yeah.
You wasn't in it either. It was only the 5 boroughs. If you wasn't in them 5
that's
boroughs,
what I'm saying.
Philly wasn't in it. Jersey wasn't in it. They was like, if you ain't
It
from
was
the
New
5
York.
boroughs,
Listen. New York in that time, from my standpoint, to give you a snapshot from the East Coast looking west, it was like New York was so hot at this time because you had all these groups coming out, man. You had solo artists, you had groups, you had DJs that were becoming names. Like, they were like really, really starting to cut records a certain way. It was almost like a movie, right?
Yeah.
So I'm immersed in it as a comedian and a fan of hip hop. Like, so I'm doing shows with Biggie. I'm doing shows with rappers that, like, I did a show with Special Ed. I did a show, like, I'm like, yo, man, these cats is doing these little rooms that I'm doing that's got 100 people, but the people going crazy, right? So when I got MTV, there was just sort of iconic moment because MTV was like, yo, we playing all hip hop. And so now I get a chance to meet Too Short. Now I get a chance to meet Ice Cube. I get a chance to meet Snoop Dogg when he's 19, drop his first album. I get a chance to meet Dr. Dre. I get a chance to go up to the Bay and meet E40. Like, so I just got on a plane and it looked like my plane kept landing in different regions. And I was like, yo, it's rap music everywhere. Like, that was my impression.
Yeah, it was great to see that, Rakim said one time, it ain't where you from, it's where you at.
Oh, right.
And so it was great to see that was starting to be the reality in hip hop.
Correct.
It ain't where you from, it's where you at. We had hits coming from, you had the Ghetto Boys in Houston coming up. You had, people like MC Breed, you know what I'm saying, from Flint, Michigan.
From Flint.
You got
8 Ball.
So here it was, and not talking about the bass music that Luke and the 2 Live crew was doing, and
numbers too.
Yeah, so the music started to spread, and it wasn't really about where you from. It was about what was coming out the speakers. And that's the essence of hip hop. It's like if you good enough to put your city on, your city should be put on.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Like
no, what you
Nelly
put on the West Coast
with
bro.
St. Louis.
You put on the whole Western Seaboard. You went hard for. You said the West Side.
I mean, I had help. It's like so many people was the foundation of that.
Correct.
Leading up to that moment, it was so many going into that. You can't count out King T and DJ Pooh, and so there's a great foundation that hopefully we'll be able to tell those stories. Hip hop is 50 years old.
Yes,
it's time to tell the stories of
the West Coast, the producers. I'll give you an example, and then we're gonna get into Mount Westmore. Like DJ Quick to me is probably one of the most talented, most underrated producers on the West Coast I've ever seen. He changed music. He changed me. Like it doesn't seem like they ever give him his flowers on his gift. His contribution to this game, right? And it's a lot of artists like that.
Well, a lot of work that Quick did, you don't know he did it. He's one of those producers from that era where the producer wasn't trying to jump out in front and go, I made that, I made that.
His first album,
classic.
His first album really showed producers, hey, we have to move away from strictly sampling and start to play our own music.
Correct.
And start to be creators on that level. And people give the Chronic a lot of credit for making that change, but you gotta look at DJ Quick first album as well. That was the start of like, yo, we got to get more musical. We have to get, of course,
some levels to
I'm
it.
talking about on the West Coast. Of course, you got what Teddy Riley and what them guys is doing, but for the most part, DJ Quick is in that conversation.
Absolutely. That's why I brought it up, because he's one of those guys that, I just think is so talented, and his sound is so unique, and what he has done, like Short said, he was never really one of those guys trying to market himself. You know what I'm saying?
Well, most artists, you're dealing with a true artist.
Yeah.
And I saw Quick as an artist that was into his music, as far as trying to be a big star and all that, that to me wasn't on his radar. It was like,
not at all. He
back in the
music.
studio,
Let's get
do great music and all that to take care of himself.
I give Quick credit too, because when he pulled up, High C, his homeboy got an album. AMG, his homeboy got an album. Second to None, his homies got an album.
Right.
He got an album.
Yeah,
and then when you listen to all their albums, it's Quick on the production.